Yo, welcome to the Elite Table Talk, where we unpack health professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, and just everyday people and looking at their lifestyle, their mindset, their routines, and we see what they have done to help them move forward and really just get more time back in the day. Most people say there's 24 hours in the day, but there's really 16 because we sleep for 8. But how do we get the most out of those 16? So grab a pen, get some paper, let's make some notes. Let's see what we can get from this episode today. Let's go. Welcome to episode 100. Yep, we have finally made it 100, we being me and my other personalities. We finally made it to episode 100. And as you can see, I'm no longer under the stairs. Yes, Kate has let me out from underground. For those that are like, what? So, yep, in our apartment, just behind that door is a staircase. So you can see how it's all built in. So I'd be under the stairs and... that's where I've been for the last many years, Harry Potter style. Though there's some exciting news coming, which we'll share later. Though I'm now out and about and rejigging, reworking a few things, and it's all quite exciting. And actually, like on adjacent, the other side of me is kind of what we're working on, a new layout, so a little bit cleaner. So this is a little bit. How's it looking? What's with the washing, Carl? What's with the towel? That's not a Vitruvian towel. Correct. Carl, are you ever going to wear a Vitruvian top? Well, it's in the pipelines. We're getting some new Vitruvian tops. This is a cotton version. A big shout out to Mr. Dennis from Empowered Fitness who gave me this top. It's all cotton, which I run pretty hot, so it's pretty gnarly. Though, what are we here to talk about? Not just polywaffle. We're here to dive into episode 100, which is a breakdown and a run through of the last 100 episodes. So if you're tuning in and you're watching this going, man, I don't have all the time in the world to watch 100. Well, guess what? We're going to simplify it and make it easy for you, which I definitely do appreciate myself when someone does that and I don't have to watch all of the episodes. Some of those lessons you might find helpful, and so you could then go back to that specific episode. So let's dive in. So the top 10 things I've taken away from the last 99 podcasts, and then number 11, which is the tip of what we're looking to do over the next 100 episodes. So making changes, and long and behold. So how it started was, the idea was that I would just get on here, talk to people, ask some questions, and literally just share what we learned from people like Owen Hallam. We had Reese Adams, we had Kathy O, Bianca, Julia, many, many more. To say the least, we had Ollie recently, we had Jai. And so what we're looking to unpack was kind of how, Elite Table Talk was, how did they get to where they are? What habits have they done? We had this whole spreadsheet where we would do one interview and divide into 3. And we're kind of going to get away from that and be more ad hoc or what's going on with the latest. So how we plan to make it look over the next 100 episodes will be client success stories. What are the trainers currently doing? Like myself and Eddie. We've ramped us training from 4 times a week to 5 times a week. So we both train each other twice. And we're doing a mechanical tension, metabolic stress, metabolite build up. So we're literally throwing all 3 fundamental training components that we use through our personal training services. And so we lift heavy, higher than some moderate rep work, get a bit of a pump, and then we just annihilate high rep work. Large amount of pump, very little recovery, and it's pretty interesting how sore the arms are. Bit of chest, not as much as I thought. I thought it'd be a bit sore. Like talk about why we're doing that, break it down so for those that are interested. And we're also going to make PDF files for those that are interested. You can comment, reach out to info@vitruvianhealth.com.au, and you can actually get a complimentary PDF file free of charge. And you can even join looking to do a community group to support those people. On training, then lessons, things that have stood out, such as me. I've been doing a lot of Tony Robbins events, workshops, and it's like, what are the main takeaways? And the biggest takeaway for a lot of us is, if you think of a triangle, is we all control the physical side of how we show up. So, the state that we rock up in. Some people will be a little bit, I'm tired. But the thing is, if you just big breath, you can make a change right away. So it's easy as that. And by making that change in your physiology, you can make a change in what you focus on and the meaning that you give it. Yep, bad things happen to all of us. If someone walked into this room and just knocked me in the face, some people were like, ha, take that, Carl. And other people were like, holy crap, see, okay. So we would all make it mean something, but fundamentally I just get in the face. What does it mean to all of us?
it all means something different, and there's nothing wrong with that, though we also have the ability to make a quick change. So yeah, we're going to dive into that, and then we'll also I've been starting to go through Facebook and in a bunch of Facebook community groups, and really just sharing my own take or opinion, like how would I address it. And so we're going to do like Q&As sections as well. So if anyone ever has questions, or we get a lot of questions from our clients and our members, and literally we'll just do a recording because then it can be a helpful resource. And for some people that maybe can't get into in person, then this is a way to give back. So that's what we're going to look to do. We're going to be probably changing the scheme and the color and the theme from Elite Table Talk to just Table Talk. Me and the team are in the back end kind of nominating what to do. We are going to call it the round table, and we all sit at a square table. So it's always the irony of it. So it'll be good fun. So that's what's coming. And let's now do the recap of the last 90 episodes. So this no particular order. So it's really just what I have enjoyed really about the Table Talk, which is really me just interviewing people and understanding who they are and what they're about and understanding the story and the relationships I've built, which is really cool. So it starts with number 1, which is Mr. Reese Adams from Redefine Fitness. He was in episode 4, and it was about breaking the mold. Breaking the mold? What? So he is really, in a world where most people do have AI, have apps. So, you're entering your details and it just spits out something, which is, everyone's like, it's not cookie cutter. It's cookie cutter. Like a custom plan. Anyone that tells you like this is the thing I battle with. It's like, yeah, it's personalized training and it's personalized, but the thing is, everyone still squats, benches, and deads and pull-ups. So there's only so much personalization you can have. So we're all using there's only 150 specific methodologies of training. So there's 8.2 billion people on the planet. So not everyone has these custom plans, right? So the challenge that really we face is yes, it's personalized, but it's custom, but it's the cookie cutter, and it has this back and forth to it. The thing that Reese, I got out of it was really, let's just break the mold, and it's not just about training. You've also got the nutritional side. So really, he's looking at how to redefine fitness. Now, fitness is the ability to move without pain, but for him, he's looking or dis-ease in someone's life, and that's for me the dis-ease. How can I make it easier for someone? Right now, there's some friction; it's causing them that stress. How can I make that easier? And it could be a simple one where he messages with people, and a lot of people are like, pizza's bad. He's like, how's pizza bad? You've got proteins, you've got vegetables, pizza base. But then when you eat it, the question is, what happens next? Do you lose weight, stay the same, or put it on? And so he literally takes an approach where he's messaging, gone back and forth with people to really break it down and create an individual strategy for each person. So if you're a corporate CEO, eating pizza has you bloated. He's like, cool. How much did you eat? You ate 2 pizzas, 2 beers. Cool. Well, maybe let's look at 1. Or unfortunately, pizza doesn't work for you. Now, for a mother, having that pizza then controls the kids, and then she actually has a moment to herself to decrease the stress. And that's the cool thing about what he does, is he individualizes the strategies that each person can use. And so each week he builds an arsenal. So, and I enjoy this with a lot of people through corporate for travel, is that we have a travel guide. And so that didn't just happen today, but we build it out over the amount of times people have traveled, find out that list that works for them. And so he has this resource that he just taps into, hey, Carl, you're going away for a few weeks. Remember these things. We found that these are the most helpful things to avoid because they tend to bloat you or make you feel lethargic, which isn't best for the business and presenting. It's oh, thanks. So he really looks at that individualized approach. So number 2 is the holistic. So the big picture, what health and fitness really means, hosted by myself. And I'm just really diving into, I think it's a good episode because people can just dive into a bit of everything, which is the whole model of which I work off, which is understanding that you've got nutrition, exercise, sleep, mental well-being, and really just building out a holistic or comprehensive approach. So really simple and easy to work through. So for those that are feeling a little bit stuck, great episode to leverage and understand so you can get the most out of it. What episode is it? It's 56. Number 3, and this is a take from variety of the team. Next one, episode 11, which is From Ground Zero to Fitness Hero with Tom Merrim. This was a really interesting one because he is like the educator, a person in the back end for one playground, and just hearing like the cool thing. What I liked about the episode with Tom is that we actually didn't really know each other. It was like me just messaging, and he just said, "Yeah, let's do it." So like super humble, lovely guy to talk with. We talked from topics, how he started, his perspective, health topics, and really just understanding that, like for a lot of people, and he has a coaching program as well, but for a lot of people, it's like one size fits all. He's like, yeah, you have one size fits all, but really it's like, again, the tailored approach. So similar to Reese, we're really able to talk about like what we are passionate about, what we really want to be doing. And so he really wants to understand where people are from like now, because a lot of people will be like, tell us the goal and cool, do my thing. He's like, no, let's understand where you want to be, but now let's look at where you are and create a roadmap to get there, which I think is really cool. Number 4 is episode 46, 5 fat loss tips that will change your life. Pretty much in the title, in case you haven't gathered. Easiest one to get through. Though I will say other episodes that would work well with actionable for fat loss is the Kathy O. So anything that's done with Kathy O, she'll tell you definitely you should get on all of them. Though her approach when adding this to fat loss tips is really building the foundation. So this is where a lot of people have, there's two spectrums. Calories are king and then like gut health. But the thing is, you got to kind of do both. So if you prioritize gut health, so you increase nutrient uptake, microbiome health, that increases gastric juice production, manage your stress, like decrease stress and come up with better strategies. All of that is going to have an impact on the calories. And Kathy was a big advocate of this because we did it for her as well, which was building foundations, training, nutrition, like all of it. So then she went from like 1,200 calories up to 3,500. So big advocate for that, and that plays into that nicely. But the really biggest, easiest thing, like if you go to any of Kathy's episodes, you really like it really packs it out, but it has it in a format that's easily digestible. From like get a piece of paper and pen and just write, and then you get a highlighter and then you highlight top 3 things, just action those 3 things. So Kathy's like a big advocate. She does a lot of reading, a lot of journaling. The thing to understand is that she gives you everything. So when you're with her, she gives you everything that you need and more. Though right now, when you listen to it, pen, write it all, highlight, top 3, go there. If it's too much, just pick one. And the cool thing is because you've written it down now, you can go back to it, re-review, and then go, yep, oh, I forgot that one. And then you build on it. Like I do that myself, strategy I picked up, which was read all your journals. Like end of the year, I just go through all my journals again. And then I'm like, and funnily enough, I actually did this just recently. So I actually went through like journals. So like through 240 pages, and there's 10 of them. And so then I ended up writing, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more pages. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, that was really interesting. And I also, some of them were highlighted, some of them weren't, which is really cool. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember like that. So like, for example, spheres of influence. So a lot of the time when people say they have a goal, they go, I'm like a 10 out of 10 commitment. It's like, cool, well, what energy do you want to bring to that? It's like, oh, of course a 10. Great. What results do you expect with what you're doing out of 10? So if you gave 10 out of 10 and you gave 10 out of 10 energy, but you expect a 7 out of 10, it's like, interesting. What's the gap? And it might be like, oh, well, I've done this before, but I failed. So like, I'm a little bit hesitant. And that hesitation is what causes you to be like, yeah, well, I tried. Right. So you can, and this is why this is Pandora's box with any episode with Kathy, is that it really does open up that whole Pandora's box because you can go so many ways. And to summarize it, it would be, remember that time you had a gut feeling? That's why you should prioritize your gut health, because you become more intuitive and you have everything that's within you. But a lot of the time we've suppressed it for so long. So that all comes from 5 fat loss tips, understanding that we all know the information, but maybe you should prioritize calories and probably prioritize gut health so it has a more positive impact on the other side. Number 5, this one was pretty cool, which was mindset and motivation. What's the difference? The winning mindset with Owen Hallam. So he's an executive coach. So he was an executive for a company and fell in love with health and fitness, met him at an event. And it was really funny because I literally I believe I told him I literally wrote this guy off. So he was like super prepared, telling people, for example, having the piece of paper on the table for people to write on. So you go to an event, some people rock up with nothing, and so they're not prepared. Well, why don't you just give them paper and a pen so they can make notes? And I was like, well, of course. So he really got people to think about like the journey. And he was like, mate, don't worry. I've got you covered. I'll give you the notes later. I'm like, nah, got to keep writing. And I was like, meh, he seems like every other speaker. But then he laced in his own personality and he started doing like Shrek impersonations and Donkey. And then he got me hook, line, and sinker. Though after the event, I was like, oh, it's really interesting that he's telling people to be prepared, and he's talking to people about like pros and negatives and how to like neutralize, which is pretty cool. Though I was like, yeah, but if he's always prepared, then like why don't we have this? And under my notes, he goes, I want everyone to look under their notes now. And I looked at my notes and I was like, holy shit, this guy's good. So I really connected with him to like really unpack the aspects, because it's not just about health, it's about the psychology and how we can cultivate that. So a lot of the time, your environment, if your environment's not great, when you're at a low point, your environment's always going to beat you down. So creating a supportive environment and creating those strategies long term. And the cool thing is that we all have that ability to analyze and assess it, though sometimes we need the coaching and the guidance to navigate through it. Number 6, community engagement, which is episode 57 with Josie. So Josie Cotty used to work with her a long time ago, so it was great talking with her. And I actually got 2 lessons out of her. So I'm just going to skip 6 and 7, which was number 1 is the challenges of building a dance studio and encouraging people to share your experiences, and we can cultivate and learn from it. So a lot of the time people, and this is probably why we've changed the model of the podcast. So this is like we were getting everyone's stories, but it wasn't really helping with training, nutrition, lifestyle, and accountability. So it was really just everyone's story, which is the idea, but not a lot of people were gelling with it. Though I think for me, these 100 episodes is really my lessons for myself and the things that I can take away. So really just sharing, connecting with people, and really just asking, who, what, where, when, why, and how, and really just being curious. And for Josie, it was really playing on her strengths, which was like, she was a great dancer. But the thing was, it wasn't just about Josie. It was about she didn't say this, but she's a great dancer. That's awesome. But how can I give this to as many people as possible and support them to be the best as well? So then, like, in one side, she becomes even more competitive and challenges herself, but then she's challenging these people to be better. And so it just continues to feed and thrive. And again, didn't say this, but comes from a beautiful place, love and care. And she really gave everything to it, which came at the cost of her health and well-being for a little bit, like sleepless nights, happens with running a business, though really putting like heart on sleeve. And it was really cool. I think she got to a point where she had 15 teams, like crazy, from like, I'm doing it. Like, can you imagine, like, think like there's teams of like 15, 16 people. Like, she is one person who is competing to then building 15 teams of like 150 people. If it was just 10 people per team, like that's crazy. 150 people all for, like becoming the best versions of themselves. Crazy. And that one. Then the second one, which just her knowledge, her background, really just her story and just how she shares. So like one's wearing the heart on the sleeve, but then how she shares through the journey. And really like a lot of the time people will end businesses like they're going to burn the bridges. Definitely been there. And, learn from it. But for Josie, it was like, it wasn't like burn it down, like stuff. Everyone's like, cool, we've built it here. Awesome. What can we do to continue to serve? And she went looking for another person that could just take a spot and just continue to take and thrive. And I think, what was it? I think it's not reggaeton. Booty bouncing. I'm not quite sure what it's called. It's escaping. Twerking. There it is. So twerking. So finding someone who actually like does twerking classes, and it was, I'd be like, really, twerking classes? But for her, it was like, yeah, but it creates an experience for those people so they can continue to, because dance is a form of expression, says Carl, who doesn't really run a dancing company, though she really was, again, another way of showing like the heart in the sleeve. So really cool. And really just hearing how she's going now. And when we did the interview, it was the first one here in person, which I really enjoyed, exploring, testing, moving pot plants. So the background. So for me, it was great to have in person and explore and chat. Next up, we have Mr. Harrison. Harrison is a gentleman who he has a company called Primal. So they use tinctures like reishi and conjure and lion's mane. So one's for a nootropic for cognitive focus, and then reishi, which helps with relaxation. But it's all through tinctures. So they're using mushrooms. They don't taste like mushrooms. Don't worry. It's got a little bit of alcohol in it, but he uses blueberry extract. So antioxidants. And so you just 30 seconds. Yep. So I said 30 minutes in my brain, 30 seconds in the mouth, swish, swish, swish. And it also is the quickest way to absorb. So really enjoy Harrison's one, because yes, we talked about sleeping like a baby and his one, and we talked about optimizing. Though from him, I like the aspect of tinctures and the company that he runs, because not everyone wants to swallow pills. And some people, again, if you're linked to Kathy's episode, some people have GI tract issues or obstacles, and that makes it harder for them the gut to break it down, so it takes longer. Or a tincture, the tongue gets absorbed into the bloodstream a lot faster through the mouth. So that's pretty cool. And what he's done, look, he went to source all the right ingredients, couldn't find it, so he's like, cool, I'll do it myself. And he actually did. And a really exciting big shout out to him, because he's recently bought his own home. So he's just expanding, which is beautiful, in his family, life, and in business, which is really cool. Next one is a lesson I learned from actually Mr. Rodin-Moore. Now, I believe we did an episode with him ages ago, but we actually didn't air it. Why? Because I didn't hire a tech person at the time, and we didn't have proper technology. We didn't have the proper equipment, so it was actually just filmed over a camera. Definitely could reuse it and purpose it, but I wouldn't be doing the man justice. So for him, my lesson from him, which was based on one of episodes 58, which is on complexity of killing progress. But from him, a lot of the lessons shared in that episode come from him, which is really keeping it simple, but building out a bulletproof plan. So what that means is, everyone, you think about it, everyone sleeps, wakes similar time. Most people eat the same 21 meals or 28 meals in the week. So if you made a little change, if you thought, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go to bed at 10 p.m., cool. If you break that into 30-minute slots, you now have your allocated times. Now, most people go, it's really hard, I don't have the time. Break it down. Guarantee you're not doing something every 30 of those minutes. So that's like time to go for a walk, so you increase your steps. It might be a time to put the phone down 30 minutes earlier so you can go to bed sooner. It could be 30 minutes to jog, journal. It could be time to train, because people think, I got to train for 90 minutes. So simplifying the whole process makes it a hell of a lot easier to achieve those goals. So as simple as wake up, bedtime. Cool. Did I do it yesterday? Nope. How can I improve it? I could do this, this, this. Great. Pick one, go do it. And so many people think they've got to do 100 things. Just start with one. So keeping it short, sweet is definitely the way to go. So that comes from him. And if you're hearing this, sir, hope you're ready for the official Mr. Dubois podcast, which definitely I'd be keen to get him for like 5 hours and just talk for 5 hours straight, because definitely a wealth of knowledge out there. Last one is pretty much the engaging whole format of the last 99 episodes. So really, and I think the biggest advocate here would be Jesse and Ollie, because these guys are actually, Jesse now holds the world record for most handstand free push-ups, and Ollie is going for free handstand push-up, and collective mentor, which is Dylan Fowler. Shout out to all you guys. But the thing is, and all of these people, probably the simplest lesson I take from all of them is they all had a plan. So sometimes it doesn't happen right away. but really having a strategy and a plan. So a lot of the time people would do a podcast and have a blank piece of paper. And heck, I can tell you right now, that's actually how we started in the first few episodes. And then what we did is we actually documented it, created a list of questions, which I love still to this day. Kathy and Reese were the two that like sent me the whole list with what they were going to do. And to really, they just had like having a clear picture, like detailing it down makes it so much easier. So you're not, what was the thing I was going to say? Oh, and then what was the thing I was going to say? Like you don't get lost in thought, like they have clarity. And one thing I notice in myself is that when I start to feel friction or restriction, I will start to lean and strain the neck. Where if we can elongate that whole posture, definitely helps. Which brings me to, so always have a plan and a strategy, but brings me to my bonus tip, which is 11, which we attended an event with a professional speaker. And he actually talks about most people in a stress state or response or lack clarity will talk in this posture, and you ever heard like, and then or that's because their posture isn't elongated enough and they don't exemplify or extend their words, which I definitely have to work on. Like when he said it, I was like, God damn, because I listen to everything at 2x speed. Like I hate 1x speed. I really hate that Kate doesn't like to watch movies at 1.5 to 2x speed. But love her. So we do 1.25. Sometimes I sneak in 1.5. But for this guy, it was all about when speaking, it's about elongating. So you get that big diaphragmatic breath. So many people don't breathe like enough. And there's so many breath coaches out there. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole yet, though you can see I'm doing it right. So because they don't take that time to pronunciate and then continue, they don't have time to catch up on their thoughts. So because I do talk quickly, it is good to make notes, type them up, so then I can literally check them off. But for those that don't and they like to maybe rush that process, then it's definitely important to make those notes. Though if we can elongate, we would actually probably say less, but more impactfully. So that is the summary from changes that are coming. So we're changing the name, the layout, the theme. We've then got the top 10 lessons. Big shout out to all those people that mentioned. So Jesse, Ollie, so Dylan, who hasn't been on the podcast yet. There have been lessons from Dan Henderson himself. We've got lessons from Owen Hallam. We've got Julia, Bianca, Kathy O. There's Forrest. I said Ollie, Harrison. And it's funny, I've just removed my list, so it seems a little bit like bugger. And myself are just sticking through it. So it's been 100 episodes. This is the 100th episode. So starting from the next one, we've got some cool things coming out, which will be in our new studio, Vitruvian Health, and from home, which will have a nicer backdrop, not just the washing in the background. So till next time, adios, amigos.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into that episode. Hope you really enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel and also to share so we can help more people. Now with your pen, you've probably written down heaps of things, but the things like myself, like there's blank pages, but pages, got lots of notes. What are the top 3 that you got out of today's episode? If 3 is too much, action on one thing and just see how it goes for you for this week. And make amendments and adjustments so you're constantly improving and refining and moving forward in your health, your training, your life. If you ever get stuck, reach out to us at info@vitruvianhealth.com.au. Always here to help. Till next time, adios, amigos.